The White House now proposing something it's apparently never tried to do before to keep one of our nation's rivers from potentially evaporating into dust. They've got this plan that's one of three options on the table that's pretty drastic. It would force several Western states to split up how much water they use from the Colorado River Basin. That's option number 3. In some instances, it would mean cutting back by as much as 25%. Think about that for a state like California, where a longtime drought has made every drop precious. Think about what a 25% cut would feel like for them. It is the latest and most dramatic twist in a story that's been brewing for months, with the river shrinking and threatening everything from how much water people out west have to drink to how much water crops have to grow and beyond. CNBC's senior White House correspondent Kayla Tausche is covering this one for us. This is like... It's unprecedented, and it is a pretty drastic plan to say, hey, we're just going to split this pie into equal pieces. You're going to get it, and this is how it's going to have to be.
Well, the Interior Department, Hallie, has said it doesn't have a preference for which of these plans it's going to actually move forward with. But the purpose here is to light a fire underneath the 7 states that are part of the so-called Colorado River Basin that get water from the Colorado River, and they get power from the Glen Canyon and the Hoover dams. Those 7 states have been negotiating for a very long time to try to figure out their own deal to allocate what cuts they'd be willing to take in order to keep Lake Mead and Lake Powell, which service those dams that I just mentioned, to keep them operational and to keep them from going into dead pool, which essentially means there's not enough water to flow downstream to actually get onto the other side of those dams. So the Interior Department said, hey, you haven't reached a deal. We're going to take matters into our own hands. We have these 3 plans. The first one essentially is not viable. The second one would be a very strict priority system. The most senior and oldest holders of water rights, i.e. California, would get more of the water. And then the third one is that pro-rata distribution of those cuts. But ultimately, Hallie, there's 45 days before, anything is, they're going to be taking more comments. The states are going to have to, reconvene and see if they can come up with something. And I think the federal government's hope is that the states can figure this out and they won't have to.
Oh, this does feel like that, Kayla. I mean, listen, as a parent, right, this feels like one of those moments where they go, well, if you can't figure it out, we're going to figure it out for you, and you may not like it. I mean, that's like a little bit of the vibe here. And in states that are going to have maybe a political impact for this administration and others come 2024. Nevada, Arizona. I'm not trying to get political on everything, but this is going to matter.
And the way that the federal rules are written, Hallie, the government only has the authority to limit the water supply to those 3 states in the lower basin, California, Arizona, and Nevada. And you're right, 2 of those are very politically important states, swing states for the next election. But ultimately, I don't think that they're going to sit idly by. There was a press conference earlier today, and one of the representatives from Arizona said, we're not going to accept this plan sitting down, that we will litigate this if we have to, but that's obviously not an ideal outcome. It could be 10, 15, 20 years before litigation could be resolved. So there's hope that over the next 45 days they can get some sort of working plan together, or else the Interior Department is going to move forward with one of these.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.